What's up, my soul fam? For those of you who are new here, my name is Chelsea Curtis. I am a reality architect, an interdimensional channel, a psychic medium, and a galactic ambassador. And I channel messages from my guides, among other things, and I share them with you, the collective. So today's message actually came in several days ago. And my guides have been like, hey, you need to make this video. Hey, you need to make this video. Hey, you need to make this video. But I've just had so much stuff coming up, as this message clearly states a lot of us are experiencing something very similar, but in different ranges, different parts of our reality, okay? So this is a dense message. This might be a longer video, so just bear with me for a minute. So the message that came through, like the very first part of the message, is that we are now entering into a more advanced phase of the shift from 3D to 5D, okay? And it's not so simple that you can gauge it on like a scale. Like, it's not like we can say, oh, we've moved from 3D to 4D, and now we're in the midst of moving from 4D to 5D. It's just that we are in a more advanced stage of the process that we've been moving through over the past 10 years. Okay, so a lot of what came through for me came through in paragraphs, not sentences, paragraphs. They did give me visuals, but very few. This was very much a transmission rather than just a broad collective message like they've given me in the past, okay? So they started off by saying, we know that some of you may be going through awakenings, dark nights of the soul, or just periods of depression and discouragement. This is normal for the shifts that you've experienced. Right now, our personal and collective vibration, our meaning humans, personal and collective vibration are trying to stabilize with the new frequency of the timeline we've shifted to. So what has happened, and I believe that this process began back at the spring equinox. We were given an upload of energies that would begin the process of readying our timeline. And then at the summer solstice and the 7/7 Sirius gateway, we experienced almost like being catapulted into this new timeline. And they even state in here, and I'll read it, this shift was much more drastic than any previously experienced, and thus required a more dramatic integration/stabilization period. So that's why a lot of us are really going through it right now, because essentially what's happening is our frequency was adjusted to meet that which was given to us on the spring equinox. Then, okay, and that was kind of a preparation, because we needed to be at least closer to the vibrational frequency that we would be shifting to with the summer solstice. So then the summer solstice hit, and they broke it up for us. So they gave us a wave of a timeline shift on the summer solstice. We took like a 2-week integration period with that, and that was really rough. I lost 2 pets in that period of time, okay? And I know a lot of other people that have lost a lot during that time, that have had a lot of old healing patterns and trauma patterns and old cycles that have resurfaced, not just as like a testing period, but to really make sure that the vibrational frequency of those paradigms is completely cleared out of our reality. Because then the 7/7 Sirius portal hit, and it thrust us into this very high vibrational frequency, okay? It's why we've been getting slammed with Schumann resonance. It's why we've been getting, we haven't had a ton of solar activity, but we have had some, more than we've experienced in the past month and a half or so. And it is because we essentially got catapulted into a very high vibrational timeline, and now all of us are trying to adjust to that timeline before we can begin experiencing it to its fullness. Does that make sense? I hope that it does. It's kind of like the way that they have described it to me is when you're repotting a plant and you're putting it in a bigger plant that has more room to grow. It has more fertile soil with all of the nutrients that is necessary after you have used up all of the old soil and the pot is too small. But before you can do that, you have to pull the plant out, you have to wash all the roots and get the old soil out, and then you repot it. After that, there's like a shock period that the plant has to go through where it's in a moment of adjusting to its new home, where it has to realize, oh, I was uprooted, but I didn't die. And now I have to adjust to this new living space that I'm in. And then it can start to stretch out. It can start to grow. It can start to intake all that new nutrients. That's what we're going through right now. Okay, I'm not done yet. All right, so they wanted me to give they wanted me to give you guys some signs that you can be looking out for that are letting us know that we've stepped into a new, not only a new frequency, but this new phase of the shift, the energetic shift from 3D to 5D, that is letting us know that we've upped the ante. We are in a much more advanced phase of this whole process. Okay, so the first one was more defined vibrational timeline split. So what that means, we've talked in the past, there were a bunch of different timelines that we could choose between. And all of those timelines began to collapse within one another. So what that means is that essentially you could choose a lower vibrational timeline, which essentially wants to hang on to the old way of doing things. It doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to experience this shift into new earth. It wants to continue the old lower density frequency. Or you could choose the higher density shift that we are experiencing right now, which is moving us into that 5D experience. Okay, this is the one with change and love and equality and peace and all of the good things that many of us are trying to work toward. Okay, that timeline divide has become more and more defined, more and more potent. So what we're experiencing right now is we're no longer seeing, it's becoming much more evident who is on which timeline. It's becoming much harder for people on one timeline or the other to shift into the opposite frequency. So there was a period after the spring equinox where people essentially, some people who had chosen the lower vibrational timeline were going through awakening experiences and seeing the truth of what is perpetuated within that timeline. And a lot of them were like, okay, I don't vibe with this anymore. And they were shifting to that higher timeline frequency. Okay. Those switches are no longer really resonant with the path forward. The decisions have predominantly been made. That is not across the board. No one can change their mind. It's just to say that it is going to be less likely at this point, okay? Non-duality mindset, more people are going to be moving in this direction. So non-duality, I've talked about this a lot, is essentially the view that a person is not all good or all evil. There is existent between them good and evil, dark and light. And it is the acceptance of both of those energies, the marriage of both of those energies that make the individual whole. It is moving in the direction of saying, well, I'm not going to be a bad person. It is the understanding that I am both a good and a bad person, but I choose to do good things. There's a lot more to it than that. It is a very complex thing. I definitely suggest going to look that up, because the idea of non-duality is something that we are going to be embracing with this shift. It is a huge, huge part of this shift into 5D. Okay? It's saying that even people, and this is where it gets controversial, even really evil people still have good in them, still play a part in moving us in the direction of experiencing 5D. Okay? Okay. People coming into their divine purpose and creating change. With all of these awakenings that we're going through, with all of the timeline shifts that we're experiencing, one of the signs that you can look out for is people, even the ones who already have a path that feel like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, that is shifting because we are aligning even more greatly with our higher self, with the purpose for why we came here. And so we are shifting gears. We're discovering a deeper level of that purpose, and we are being called to act accordingly. So a lot of people are being activated into stepping into positions that could create change within the collective. Some people are moving into a teaching position so that they can have a greater effect on a wider range of people. Some people are awakening to the fact that they're supposed to be working in a leadership position, or opening up some kind of healing practice or energetic spiritual practice to begin with. Okay. The end of the unaligned, making room for what is aligned, personal and collective. So this is stepping away from relationships, noticing that you're being called to end. You can no longer put up with, oh, well, I'm just going to deal with this. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and keep doing what I feel like I need to do. And this is a vast array. It could be a job. It could be a relationship. It could be family members. It could even be responsibilities that you have undertaken and now realizing, I don't have to put up with this anymore. Okay. And lastly, and this is, I think, the one that I have noticed the most, is a lot of souls choosing to exit Earth at this time. Now, what is happening is that these souls chose to come here and experience the end of 3D and the beginning of the shift, but they did not choose to experience the shift into 5D or the 5D paradigm. So we are going to be experiencing a mass exodus of souls, and this is going to come from a variety of things. It could be from different types of illnesses that are coming to the surface, or chronic illness, or accidents, freak accidents that are happening, or even from natural disasters that will be happening, okay? This is going to continue to uptick until we have that final step into 5D, which I believe is going to happen within the next couple of years, either in 2026 or 2027, and I believe it is going to coincide with a contact event. So we are in what they have called the true preparation phase, okay? Everything leading up to this point has been getting us ready to be a vibrational match for the jump that we are going to experience into a higher vibrational frequency, so that it would not completely destroy us physically and mentally and emotionally. But now we are in like the true preparation phase of stepping into that frequency, okay? And they, at the very end of it, they said we're so close, and that there was so much emphasis put on that phrase. So that is your message for today, your little energy update. Again, if you want more content from me, please check out my YouTube. You can find it in the link tree in my bio. I love you guys so incredibly much, and thank you for being here. Thank you for staying as long as you did. And as always, you are so incredibly beautiful. You are pure fucking magic. You are deeply and irrevocably loved. and you are never alone. Mwah.